Hello, this is Adrian, and tonight we're here on Unveiled on the Hope Broadcasting Network. And I'm here with my sister, Michelle Hernandez, and she's going to share her testimony with us. And Michelle, you want to say hello?
Hello, how are you guys doing?
So, Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about your ministry and what you're doing?
Okay, I'm a DV advocate and I'm with a nonprofit called Divine Connections Hope. We are primarily focused in Inland Empire,
Okay.
but we go mobile, so we'll go anywhere
praise the
God calls us to
Lord.
go. And so we have support groups twice a month.
Okay.
And it's the second and fourth Friday. If you look us up on Facebook under Divine Connections Hope, you can message us and we can give you the private location.
Right.
We keep everything private for our women. And so right now we're just advocating throughout our city, and it's been going really good, and we're just reaching a lot of women. We do one-on-ones, and so we're just here to meet any need.
And do you have any events or anything coming up?
We actually will be at Kathy Capolla's event.
Wow.
Fired Up.
Okay.
We will have a booth out there.
Nice.
So ladies, if you attend the event, check out her Facebook page. She has tickets available now, and we will be out there. We have a booth. Come and see us, meet us, and we can help you any way we can.
I love Dr. Kathy, by the way. She's amazing. So, okay, so you want to just get into your testimony a little bit and tell us maybe like, from the beginning, your childhood.
Okay, so my childhood, I had a pretty crazy, my whole family is gang related. Like, my mom was never really around. She like worked a lot, so she focused on a lot of work, and she had a lot of relationships, and she liked to drink and party. And so for me, growing up, I was always at home, And then as a young child, my father, he had told me when I was very young, about 9 years old, 8 years old, that he was gonna be leaving. Okay. And I was like, leaving? That's kind of like weird. Why would you? That's kind of weird to hear tell a kid that. Like, it's kind of weird. But anyways, like he did, and I kind of shrugged it off. But that summer, right when I went back home, he really did. Okay. So that was the beginning of my spiraling downhill. Right. So like it was like that was my pivotal moment where my heart was shattered. I didn't know at that time as a young girl that I was receiving rejection and abandonment, and I was just so lost. But as a young child, that was the beginning.
And were you a daddy's girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really close to
so it's your daddy's girl, and then he tells you like, I'm not gonna be here. It kind of like you totally messes with your head, right? Right. Yeah. And now you think like, as a little girl, was I not good enough? Was I not a good girl? Did I make him mad? And so you, as a little girl, these things are going through your mind and constantly, and I don't think a child should have to go through that, right? Yeah. Like, they should just be worrying about growing up, having fun,
Yeah, play with your dog.
Yeah. To live life in the beginning like that, it was really traumatic for me. And I was the one that I like to hold things in. So I didn't really act like it really bothered me. But yeah.
And so, as you started to get older, what was like your first domestic violence relationship, or even like experience? Because sometimes it could be like dating, if you know.
Yeah. So for me, there was a lot of emotional abuse in my family.
Okay.
So like a lot of name calling, a lot of put downs. My grandfather, he would literally he would make you feel like you're like this easy girl.
Oh, right.
I was very young.
Yes.
And so he would always have guys come over, and he had old cars. Okay. So he would literally okay, you go with them, mija. And he would literally tell the guys in front of me. Yeah. Like, you can do whatever you want with her, just bring her back. Wow. So, you feel like worthless. Like, I mean, if your own family looks at you like this, like.
And that was your grandfather, your mother's father?
It was my grandmother's new husband.
Oh, okay. Right.
So I never knew my grandfather, so but that's what I mean for my life.
Right, that's
going from a father that abandoned me to a grandfather
that just is not even giving you any value.
Like you're trash.
Right.
And so my vision of a man was was just like you just being tossed around.
Right. Yeah.
You know, being told you're not good. You know, that's what you're here for.
Right.
And so my first relationship was when I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
11 years old. I was a teenager, and he had snatched a necklace off my neck.
Okay.
And he is, you know, it wasn't as abusive, like physical,
right?
But it was things that were being said, and I mean, I don't even know why I said, right?
Well, one of the statistics I wanted to share was that I found out in just taking these classes recently is that now the average age of teen dating violence is 12 years old now. I think it was 15 a few years ago, but this year it's gone down. It's 12 years old, and that's just the average. So they say that young girls as young as 9, 10 years old are being victimized right now, but by teen dating, which 9 or 10 years old, no one should be dating at all. But kids, I think especially with our broken family system the way it is, no fathers, just the things that are going on. So many young girls, are turning to someone and at school or wherever they meet these boys at, and then the boys are coming from broken families too, and it's just a recipe for disaster,
Two broken people together. That's a toxic combination, sure right? And of course, these girls, they don't realize it that they're seeking love. Right. Because they crave to be loved. I mean, even as a woman, we crave to be loved and to have attention. And so that is like the enemy's campground, right? To like deceive us. And so I mean, thank God we're exposing this because those young girls out there that are out there right now, especially the teenagers, they think a text. Yes. Like if your boyfriend is constantly texting you, that is not love. That is jealousy. That's control. I mean, he's trying to stalk you, and we stereotypically say it's love. Right. He really cares for me.
And that's where these relationships start in the beginning. Is that you meet this person and they just want to spend every minute with you, and you think like, oh my gosh, this person is so in love with me, and most girls don't realize that it's control. They want to be with you all the time because they want to know what you're doing. And they don't. They have their own issues, and for whatever reason, they don't trust you, and they don't want to let you out of their sight because they want to know what you're doing every minute of the day. Not necessarily that they want to be there next to you. I know. Yeah. So okay. And so, did you know the Lord when you were young?
No.
No. Okay.
No. My family was Catholic, so when I think back to my childhood, I remember going to a church. Yeah. But honestly, I don't even remember ever here. Like I sat there, got up, Catholic church. I remember. This is what I remember. Mija, get up. Yes. So stand up.
Kneel down.
Kneel down. Get up. Kneel down. Yeah. That's all I remember. Yeah, so like I don't remember. I don't remember anything. Right. So I didn't grow up really with the foundation of any kind of religion at all. So I didn't really have no faith or anything else to stand on except what I was being taught.
Right. And so so as you began to get older, how did your next relationships go? Or
so as I grew older, we attract what we are. Right. And so I was broken. I was seeking love. I was messing around with drugs. And so of course I was attracting what I was. Right. So I can't attract a healthy person. No. So I was attracting all the same boys, men, just different names. Right. That's what it was. And I went from one relationship to another, and the danger and the physical and the emotional abuse just intensified as it went on. So I mean, I went from just being belittled and put down and feeling like I had no security or even self-confidence in myself, that it just started going from one thing to another. Then I was being abused, and I was being hit, and I just lost myself.
Right. And what would you have to say? Like, was there a relationship in particular that stood out?
So throughout my life, I've been through so many relationships, and but the main ones that really damaged me were the my exes from my children.
Okay.
So because I was so broken, I was with one cousin,
Okay.
and he was abusive, and he was putting me down all the time, and I was the one working all the time, and I basically I didn't even want to be home.
Mm-hmm.
I liked to work because I didn't want to be home because I already knew how that life was.
Right.
And then for some reason, I was deceived, trying to figure out a way to get out.
Right.
I had no family. My family was not around.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no one to depend on, no one to lean on, no one to run to. And so what happened was I got distracted, and then I started seeing his cousin.
Okay.
I see this
Right.
my craziness just goes crazier and crazier.
Well, I'm gonna say some of your craziness is it doesn't seem so crazy to me, but
I mean, so I was thinking like, oh, this is a good way to get out. Like I'm thinking of my own plan. Like,
yeah.
oh, this sounds like a perfect way. Like he's treating me good. Like, maybe I could just get out, right? And so that's what I did. And that was worse. That was even
because
crazier.
it gets worse. It gets worse after. And that was another statistic. Why do I have? I'm having trouble saying that word tonight. Another statistic is that the 48 hours after you leave is like the worst. The most dangerous time for a woman getting out of a relationship because the sorry, the possibility of violence and even murder is higher within the first 48 hours.
Yeah. So can you imagine? I left one to go to the cousin. That's even more
and that's just
that just caused more trouble.
downgraded.
Yeah. I thought I upgraded, but I downgraded. Right.
Yeah.
I just got myself more in a pit, and actually, so between these two abusive relationships, I have 4 kids.
Right. Okay.
I have 2 girls from the first one, and then 2 boys from the second one.
Okay.
And so this last one, I was with them for almost 5 years.
Okay.
In total craziness. I was on meth.
Right.
It was so to the point where I was that girl that you would see at the grocery store fighting with a boyfriend in the store. You would see us in the parking lot, and we would literally be fighting in the parking lot. And so no matter where we went, we were always fighting. And the abuse was, I mean, with him, it was every form of abuse you could think of. Every form. Like, there was nothing withheld from this relationship. Like, I got the full package, and it was horrible. And, it went on for so long. And as you sit here and you think back, I mean, I was dragged down the street. I mean, constantly being bit. Right. Well, that was like the worst for me, being spit at.
Spit at, you're right.
I mean, like, it was things that were just like so degrading. Yes. But yet I was so lost, and I didn't know how to get out.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. And I know you, as you said, you're an advocate, and there's one of the things that a lot of people say, well, they must like it because they don't leave. Yeah. So, and if they really didn't like it, then they would just get away. And so, as you being an advocate as well, and your personal experience, what are some things that you would like to say to those, the people that may not understand?
It's easy when you're on the outside looking in to say, if I was her, I would not stay. Right. If I was her, I'd get my kids and leave. But when you're in this relationship, it's not that simple. Right. Because we're so deceived and manipulated and so bound in control, we can't see straight. Right. We can't think. We don't even have our own thoughts, right? Because we're too busy hearing them whisper in our own head. Yes. So we're trying to figure out how to break free because we're tired of it. Right. But yet you hear it whisper like, no one wants you. You already have 4 kids. Right. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You can never make it without me. Right. Like, if you leave me, I'll kill myself. Right. So we get manipulated into so many situations that it may look on the outside like we want to stay, but we don't. We just need help. We don't know how to get out. And what I learned about my situation, and I'll share some more of my story because, I mean, I had kids and it got even more crazier. But I learned that I created this self-made prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like I took the key and I locked myself in it with him.
Right.
Like, I didn't know that all this time I had the key
Mm-hmm.
to set myself
Right.
out. And I could walk out.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I was just so blinded. I thought it was love. See, us women, we actually do care for them.
Right. Right. Of course.
It's genuine love, and
Right.
we do care, but we just are so blinded
Mm-hmm.
by our situations that the brokenness takes over, and we just become whoever they say we are.
Right. And we just lose our identity. We no longer have an identity.
No.
And then, when you look back, you kind of seem, even from growing up, you never really had an identity. And that's why it's so easy for
Yeah.
someone to tell you who you are, because you never really knew for yourself.
Yeah.
You were always told you were this or you were that.
Yeah, so we believe it.
Right. And it seems like, I was talking with someone, and I was saying, that this is a spirit, because like all these men all over the world, they follow the same exact pattern of manipulation. They all use the same words. They all have the same tactics. They all do the same things, over and over. And it's, these people don't know each other, so. And go ahead, you said you wanted to continue.
Yeah, and so in this situation, like, I mean, it was just, if you've seen me, those that know me and witnessed my craziness,
Right.
I mean, it was constant cycle, because I
Mhm.
went through the whole cycle, the
Right.
honeymoon stage,
Mhm.
plenty of times. I put him in jail plenty of times,
Mhm.
but because the soft words came, that I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do things different, I would always go back. One thing though is with this abuser, I'm very thankful.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I wasn't thankful
Right,
for my
right.
situation. I was like, I'm thankful to be in this abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking that. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm literally gonna die, because it was getting crazy. Like, he put a knife to my throat. I mean, we were trashing our apartment, throwing dishes and speakers. And it was just, he would keep us there. It was horrible. But, I know that God had a plan. He always has a plan.
Yeah.
No matter what. Even though your situation may be so traumatic and so, it might look endless and hopeless right now, but God has a plan. He takes all that bad and he has somehow does and takes it and makes it a masterpiece, right? I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Well, my abuser led me to Christ.
Oh, okay.
He led me to Christ. I didn't know about Jesus, and he's the one that showed me who Jesus was, and we're just like, my daughters.
Okay.
I had my two girls at this time, and so he was always talking about this person, Jesus, and I was like, I've never met him.
Right.
Like, I know the friends.
Yeah.
Like, I never met this one, but he never said like he got high with them or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So it's like, which one is this? Like, so introduce us,
Right.
take us.
Yeah.
And so my kids were asking, and so he did. He took us to a church, and we were actually on our way to another church, and God intervened and brought us to a church that we were destined to be in.
Wow.
And it was so funny, because we were about to take the bus to go to one church, and God sent a friend of his say, "Oh no, there's a church down the street," and that's where we went.
Oh, okay.
We were there like 2 hours early.
Oh, wow.
And I was high. I was coming down. My girls were hungry, and I'm already in a messed up situation.
Right.
They're trying to feed me. They're trying to love on me. They're like, "Do your kids want?" And I'm like, "No, they don't want food." And I'm like coming down, and I'm like, and then they know.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, "No, it's
Trying
okay."
to act all natural, like everything.
But they didn't care. They sat there and they fed us.
Yeah.
And my kids are so happy, and so we stayed for service.
Beautiful.
And I got saved. And
I thank God for for people that are out there and that are not not judgmental and that just the genuine articles, people that really just want to love you and
that they care and they just have compassion, that they're moved by the compassion of Jesus.
Amen.
Because you never know.
Right.
We can walk into your church and walk out, and who knows what could happen to us.
Exactly.
But at that moment, they just probably thought, "Man, this chick is high." And I'm sure they can recognize, because he was very controlled. Like, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah.
Right. And so they see that.
Right.
But thank God for the compassion of Jesus in them, that they stood and we stood for service. Yes. I got saved. Because I didn't even know that was what I was doing, but I felt the tugging. And I was like, what is that? And so I just went, and he was like, no, you stay here with me. And I was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. But I went up and I received my salvation and I said the sinner's prayer. But no one told me that it was, no one told me that it was going to still be this, like, my life was still going to be the same. Yeah. Like, I walked out with him. I came in with my junk and I walked out with him. But I mean,
and so there was no connection, no follow up.
Well, in the beginning, because I'm abused, right? So it's not like I can like connect with anyone.
Okay, and so was that? So after that service, was that the last time you went, or you continued?
No. So I continued to go, and that caused a lot of friction with him, right? Because I mean, he already knew who Jesus was, right? So I'm sure he knew the power of Jesus, right? And I'm sure he realized at that moment. The enemy thought like, okay, I'm about to use this relationship to destroy her. Who knows? Maybe he even thought he was going to kill me and my children. Yes. But I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant, and I was still getting high. Okay. And I was coming to church, and even then, we would fight on our way. I'd be pushing the kids in the rain, and he'd be hitting me. I mean, people were shaking my hand. Hi, how are you? Yeah. And I was like if you were to shake my hand, I'd be cringing like. Yes. Yeah. Okay, like please let go. Like because I'm in so much pain. I would wear sweaters and I'd cover up the bruises, and he would think I'm like cheating on him with every usher and every greeter, right? Yes. We know how that is.
And even the pastor.
Yeah. Like that's how you want to come here, right? That, like yes. they think you're with everyone and anyone. They think you're telling on them. Right. And so I mean, it was a fight just to get to church. Because I had to endure the abuse on the way. The only time I was safe was during service. Right. I mean, there was times where I would lock myself in the restroom upstairs because I was scared to go home. And they would chase him out, but I would still go back. And it actually changed when I started to discover who I was.
Is the Lord.
I really just started to discover who I was. I had my child. I fell short. I've been coming and I was learning about Jesus. I ended up getting pregnant again because I let him back. Okay. And then I was learning and I was growing. And I got pregnant and he wanted me to have an abortion. Okay. And now, with my first child, he beat me through the whole pregnancy. Okay. He kicked me in my stomach. I mean, that child, he shouldn't be here. Okay. The doctors even declared he should be a miscarriage. But God had a plan.
Right, amen.
And then with the second, he wanted me to have an abortion. I'm like, man, both of these children were destined in the enemy's vision to be dead, not to be here. But God had a plan to cover them and to bring them to full term, regardless of my situation and my choices. Amen. And I encourage the women that if you have a child and you're in a relationship, don't stay for them. Right. Don't think that, I want it, because that's what was me. Yeah. I want to give them a dad. I never had my dad with me. I want them to have a family, and regardless of how I felt.
And I think a lot of us feel that way. Yeah. I'm going to say for myself, too. I can't speak for other people, but I know for myself.
Yeah, we think that, because we think like, I can forget about how I feel and what I'm going through. As long as they have a parent in their life.
Right. And not thinking about what the kids are going through at the same time, right? Yeah. And that was one of the other statistics that I wanted to share. I said it right this time. That the children, let me see, 50% of batterers also abuse their children. I don't know if that was your story, but children exposed to domestic violence situations are more likely to attempt suicide, abuse drugs, alcohol, run away, engage in teen prostitution, commit sexual assault crimes. And then this one is because I have 3 boys. So worldwide, men who were exposed to domestic violence are 3 to 4 times more likely to perpetuate as adults. Yeah, and I know that